everyone. Welcome to Deluge 101. This is Sai Kumar, and I'll be taking the session for today. We'll be starting the session with working with subforms and integrations in Deluge. Before I start with today's session, let me give out a recap of what we covered last session. So we had Deluge in a Zoho Creator, and we covered custom functions as well. And we also tried to fetch and manipulate data in Deluge. And we also started working with lookups in Deluge as well. Right? So this was the topics that were covered last week. And the agenda for today is we'll be covering working with subforms in Deluge. After that, we'll be covering integrations with Deluge. And we'll also be covering another interesting topic called as exception handling in Deluge. In working with subforms, we'll be taking an order management application. Over that, we'll try to create subforms, and we'll also try to integrate certain data inside the application that we have already developed. So let us get started with that. First, let us try to understand subforms. A subform is a form that is inserted in another form, and the primary form is called as the main form, and the form that is enclosed in the form is called as the subform. Right? A form or subform combination is sometimes referred to as a hierarchical form, a master detail form, or even a parent-child form. So we have two types of subforms. One is a blank subform, another is the existing subform. So blank subform is nothing but a form inside the main form, wherein you can create a new form inside the main form called as a blank subform, where you can call in the fields that are required, create new fields, and you can use it. The existing subform is a form which has been created separately in the application, and you can call that existing subform inside the main form, which is called as existing subform. So the major advantage of using the subform is existing subform is that it is linked to a separate form which can be opened by itself, right? So you can save data, access the form separately, and you can also call in the subform, call in the form inside the main form, which would become an existing subform. To access fields in the subform, you can fetch value from a subform field by using the syntax variable is equal to row dot subform field link name. The subform field link name would be there in the field properties under the subform name, right? And you will be able to use that from there. And to set values of a subform rows field, you have a row dot subform field link name is equal to the value. Now you can insert rows in subform, wherein you can declare a row is equal to the main form link name dot the subform link name. So this is the syntax for declaring a row, and you can assign rows as well, wherein you have the syntax of row one dot field link name is equal to the value, and you can add multiple rows, and after that you can create a collection wherein you can use variable is equal to collection, where you can insert the rows that you have created inside the collection by using variable dot insert row 1, row 2, and you can also insert the rows into the subform through the variable, wherein you can use input dot subform link name dot insert variable. So we'll be seeing all this in the demo. Now let us get started with the demo. Let me get into the creator. So this is the order management application that we have. So we have order, job sheets, technicians, customers, products, and line items. So once the order is received from the order form, it goes to the job sheets where jobs are assigned to the technicians, and the technician details are visible in the all technician reports. And if you want to add new technicians, you can add it through the technicians. And if you want to add customers, you can add those customers inside the customers form as well. And over here, if you see, you have a lot of products that are listed over here, right? So we have product names, their prices, their image, as well as a category listed over here. So all these products are listed under three different categories. Before that, let me explain about line items. So line items is a form which has the product name, the quantity, and the subtotal, right? So if I select a product name over here and let the quantity be 2, the subtotal gets auto-populated. So once you see this, then you go to the order form. Underneath, you have the same product name, quantity, and subtotal. This is because we have called in the existing form, which is the line items form, inside the order form over here as a subform. So this is called as the existing subform. So how do I create an existing subform? You can just go to design and you can just start with open form builder, and inside form builder you have something called as subform over here. You can just drag and drop the subform, and you'll be given multiple options to start a subform, wherein you can have it as a blank subform or an existing subform. Let me just double click on it. So as soon as I use this, it is asking me if I want to select a blank form or an existing form. So if I want to select an existing form, I'll have to select which form I want to insert inside. So in this case, we have already inserted line items. So that is how I had brought in the items form, which is a field over here, right? So when you insert a subform inside the main form, it becomes a field. So it will have all the field properties as well over here. Right? So now let me get back to the application. So over here, we have the items where I can add new items, select the items from here, and I can add more items, right? So, but if you see, adding new items is becoming more cumbersome because I have to select the item each time, right? So every single time I have to add a new item. The customer does not know if, for example, if there is 20, 30 products inside the catalog, it would be very difficult for the customer to handle this. So that is why we have created categories, right? So you have three categories. This is just for demo purposes. I've created three categories, which is kitchen, living room, and bedroom. And the products have been categorized into different categories over here. That is what I just showed you under the products, right? So what we'll be trying to do is we'll try to select a category, and let me select kitchen, right? So if I select kitchen, I want all the products under kitchen to appear over here. And if I select, for example, living room, I want the products of the living room to be listed over here so that the customer would feel a bit more easier for him to select. And I also want the customer to select multiple categories if he wants to, right? He can select two categories, and all the two categories items can be listed over here. So let us see how we'll be able to do that. For that, you need to start a workflow. So let me just click on done. Let us start with a workflow. And under workflows, you have something called as form workflows over here. So towards your top right, you have a new workflow. Let me click on new workflow. And I need to select the form name, which is the order form. Then I'll select created, and then I'll have to select the form event, which is input of a field, right? And then I need to choose the field, which would be the category, because that is the field we are trying to trigger a workflow from, right? So I've choose category, and I'll name it as category underscore select, and I'll start the workflow. Let me add a new action over here. And for now, let us start a for loop where for each underscore selected category, which is a variable, in input dot category. So this is the category I'm calling in, which is the field name. And now let me open brackets again. All products under, so this is another variable. All products is equal to, now I'll select the form name, which is products. And then I'll have a criteria given, which is category is equal to selected category. Right now I'll have to call in the ID, which is ID dot get all. So I'm getting all the details from the products form, and then I'm putting it inside the all products collection variable. Now that we have done that, we need to declare a row now. So I'll have to type row one dot, I need to access the order form. So order dot the items, so which is the subform. And again, I have to open another loop. So I am opening two loops over here. That is because I am accessing twice the category. Once I'll have to choose between the three categories, and then for the customer to select multiple categories, I'll have to iterate again. So that is why I am opening for each rec ID in all products. Let me open brackets again. Let me assign values to the subform over here, wherein I have row one dot products, which is the product name, is equal to the rec ID. Now let us declare a variable to hold the collection of rows, which is subform row is equal to a collection. Let me start a collection over here, create a collection. Now subform row is equal to, so now that we have created a collection, we need to insert the row inside the collection, right? So insert row one. Now that we have inserted it inside the row one, I need to use the input dot items dot insert subform row. Let me save it. And now if I reload this over here, I'll be having an opportunity to select from the category, right? So now if I select kitchen, all the products under kitchen would be visible under the under the items over here, right? And if I select, for example, living room, all the products under living room will also be selected over here, right? If you notice, if I select these categories, if I close this one off, the products does not go away and it is still being populated over here. So that is because we have not used something called as clear items. So this is very important in listing the properties over here. If you see, you have something called as clear rows in subforms, where you have clear subform link name. So that is the syntax for using it. Let me get back here. So if I go and use this over here in the beginning, where I can have clear items, you will be able to see the change over here immediately. So if I select kitchen, all the kitchen products under the kitchen category would appear, right? So there are 5 products under the kitchen. And if I select bedroom, which is another category, I'll have multiple products over here, right? And if I close this, again, I do not want this category. the category gets, sorry, the products under the category gets cleared immediately, right? So depending upon the use case, business use case, you can use the clear items over here. So this brings us to the end of our topic on subforms. Now let us get into the next topic, which is integrations. Let me get back to the presentation and let us start with integrations in Deluge. So first, let us start. What is integration? So integration is where you are taking in the good aspects of other applications into your application or your product which you are trying to build, right? So you can't have all the features inbuilt in your application. It would take a lot of man hours. It would take time and money. So instead of that, you can integrate with, for example, other Zoho applications and get all the good aspects of that application, features of that application inside the application that you are trying to build, right? So that is the major aspect of integration. So how integration helps in communicating applications is very important. Wherein, for example, let us say I know French and you know Spanish, but we both talk in English, right? So that is the common language or the common link between us, so that we are able to communicate. So that is called as integration, where we have a common nodal point for us to access data and drop data inside any application or retrieve data from the application as well. So there are a lot of types of integrations, but today we'll be seeing built-in integrations and API integrations using API. So this is the syntax for the built-in integration, where you have variable is equal to Zoho dot service dot action. With action, you give parameters. So as soon as you click on Zoho dot, it gives you all the services by which you can use the integration for, where you'll have CRM, you'll have desk, you'll have inventory, and much more. And as soon as you click on the dot again after selecting the service, it will give out the actions that are pertaining to that service, right? So depending upon the service that you select, the action changes. And with the actions that changes, the parameters are set. So let us see a small example. So these are the Deluge tasks, where you have a creator, CRM, desk, and these are all the tasks that you can select under service. And so these are some of the actions, where you have create records, get records, search records, update records, get related records, get records by ID. So depending upon your action, the parameters changes, right? So for example, if you want to use get records, you need to just mention the module alone. But if you want to get search records with Zoho CRM, you will have to enter the module as well as the criteria there. So the parameters changes depending upon the actions that you select. So this is where under the Zoho Deluge record syntax, you have a map data type that needs to be open, and once that is open, you can put the data inside CRM. So that is what we have tried to do. I'll just show you in the demo as well. So the most important thing to note over here is the CRM response is equal to zoho.crm.create record. So this is the service and action I was talking to you about. CRM is the service, create records is the action, and you need to select the parameters, which is contacts is from CRM, and the value map as well, right? Which is the map data type that you have created. Now let us get into a small demo and let me just show you. Now let me close this and open a new function. So before opening a new function, let me access the CRM. So under CRM, if you see, I have already accessed the CRM under the same username which is creator training at zilker.com. I have accessed the creator as well with the same username of, let me just go out and show you. Let me duplicate this. Solutions. So over here, if you see, I have the same account that has been logged in, which is creator training at zilker.com. So because I have logged into the same user with the same user, I'm able to access between the two. If you want to log in with a different user, you will have to use the V2 API for that. Now let me just close this. And over here you have settings. So before that, for people who do not know what is Zoho CRM, in Zoho CRM, we can maintain the leads that come inside our businesses. So you can have contacts as well maintained. The leads, when converted into businesses, can be put inside accounts, right? And you can have meetings, calls, reports, and all that maintained over here. I am able to access this over here because I have the ultimate account activated over here. So for you to access the API, you can go to the configure settings in the top right corner, and below the developer space, you have something called as APIs. You can click on those APIs and you can access the API names from here. So now what we'll try to do is we'll try to link the creator account from my application. Let us try to push some data inside the CRM, right? So for that, we'll start with the new function. And let me start with the new function and we'll call it as CRM input data. Let it be Deluge and let the namespace be default. And let me start the function. And let us start with value map is equal to, let's open a map. Let me create a map and then start with value map dot put. And now I need to use the contacts APIs over here. So for that, I can click on the contacts. Once I get into the contacts, I have the first name, last name that I can use. Let me just copy this, paste it over here. I'm sorry. And over here, let me just give out first name, which is Bob. Let me give out value map, put. Let me give out the last name, underscore name. And over here, let me give out another name as Swagger. Value map, again, dot put. Now let me drop in the email so that we'll try to put in the first name, last name, and an email address inside the CRM contacts. So let me just check if that is the API for email. Yes. Comma. Now let me use the B Swagger at zilker.com. Now I need to insert it into the CRM, right? So for that, I'll be using CRM response is equal to Zoho.crm. So as soon as I click on dot, if you see you have connect, CRM, calendar. If I take the C off and give out another dot, so you'll have a report, subscription, projects, sign. So these are all the Zoho products wherein it is Zoho report, Zoho subscription, Zoho products, Zoho inventory, Zoho docs, and there are lots of projects, products that you can use. Let me select CRM for now. And let me click on another dot. It gives me all the actions that can take place inside the CRM. So I can get records, I can upsert, I can create bulk records, I can search records, I can attach files as well. So for now, let me just choose create records. I can create records, and then I'll have to use the API for contacts. So I can just get back to modules, get the contacts over here, which is the API name contacts. Let me just copy this, paste it over here, and then call the map again. Let me just info the CRM again. And let me save it. And I just made, yeah, let me save it. I just missed a semicolon over here. Let me save it and execute it. Close it here. And if I go to the CRM over here, under contacts, I'll be able to see the contacts that I have added now. So it is Bob Swagger, which is over here, right? So we have the contacts pushed inside the CRM via creator by using a function in creator, and we have the email address, contact name, and you can insert a lot of details inside CRM via the creator by using the same method. Now let me get back to the application over here, and under orders form, I have something called as CRM contacts, right? So first off, I have a customer name, right? The customer name is a list of names that are already available through the customer form. So I have filled the customer form and I have created a lot of names of the customers, wherein I have the customer name, email address, mobile number, and the address. Under orders, I have CRM contacts as well. So I have integrated the CRM contacts from Zoho CRM. I was able to do that by inserting. Let me just go back again so that I can explain to you by showing it in the application. So if I open the form builder, towards my left, I have the integration field to insert, right? Under special fields, if I insert the integration field, it is asking me which service I want to select. So I have QuickBooks, I have Salesforce, I have Zoho CRM, and Zoho Recruit, right? So for these four are all default integrations that are already available in Creator. So if you get into the microservices, you will be able to maintain the connections and data sources, right? So I have already connected with Zoho CRM, and I'm just using the data sources for Zoho CRM contacts alone. So that is why I am able to access just the Zoho CRM contacts over here. If I select CRM and Zoho CRM contacts, I just have one option, which is CRM contacts. And another important thing over here is if you have subscriptions to QuickBooks, Salesforce, CRM, and Zoho Recruit, you'll be able to connect it via the creator. And you also need to have subscription to creator as well as these four applications, right? If you want to connect it to any one of those, you need to have QuickBooks or Salesforce or Zoho CRM or Zoho Recruit, right? Once you have the subscription of both, and you can integrate with them depending upon the subscription of Salesforce or QuickBooks, you can integrate and call upon the fields from QuickBooks or Salesforce inside the uh, creator application that you are creating. Right? I can select CRM over here. As soon as I select CRM, the module is automatically selected, which is contacts, and the field name can change, right? Depending upon the field name that is available in the product that you are integrating, application that you are integrating, it would change. So let me just select done, cancel for now. So that is how I have created the CRM contact over here. And you can, under microservices, maintain the data sources and connections as well. If you want to create new connections, you can create new connections via create new connection option over here, right? Let me just go back again. So in that way, now what we'll do is, once I select a CRM contact from here, I want the first name, last name, and email address to get auto-populated, right? Now from the CRM contact in creator, let us see how we'll be able to do that. Let me go to creator, click on done, go to workflows. Let me start a workflow because we are trying to access it via the form. Go back again, sorry. Form workflows, new workflow, order form created, user input of a field. Let me choose the field as CRM contacts. Let me name it as CRM and underscore contacts. Name it as 2. And let me create a workflow. We add a workflow here, and let me give out the code as CRM response. So CRM response is equal to Zoho dot CRM dot. Now I'll have to select get records by. So I want all the records by the ID. So I'm getting get records by ID. And I want to select the module as contacts module, right? So I can go to the CRM over here, select the option on the, under settings, go to APIs. Under API names, I can take the API name of the contacts, use it over here, Control V. Under big integer, let me input dot CRM contact dot too long so that it converts into text. We close it. So let me here info response. So as soon as I info it, I'll be able to see all the application over here, right? I just put out a space here. Just made a spelling mistake. Let me save it. Now I'll have to insert the data from the CRM. So I'll have to use input dot first name. That is the first name from the contacts form here. So APIs here where I have the first name, right? And I'll use the last name also. First name, string is equal to CRM response dot get. We paste it again. We paste this because this is the code over here. Let me again copy and paste it again so that it would be easy for us to edit. Last name, yes, and let me copy this and paste it under last name. And let me input the email as well here. Email, which is the string, and under CRM response, I can give out the email over here. Right. So these first name, last name, and email are from the Zoho service communication key, which is the first name, last name, and the email. So if I update this, I'll be able to, let me reload this again. I'll be able to access it via the CRM over here. Let me just select any contact, and the first name, last name, and email address would get auto-populated. So we pushed data from CRM inside the application that we are building. So like this, you'll be able to do this via the built-in API calls, and you'll be able to push it into the application that you are building from inventories, or it can be from desk, it can be from click. So any application in Zoho, you'll be able to do that. And you can also do that via the built-in integrations. So now this brings us to the end of our built-in integrations topic. Now let us get into the application again, and let me go to the presentation. Let us get started with API integrations, which is the next topic that we'll be covering. So under API integrations, we have something called as invoke URL function. So the invoke URL function is used to make API calls wherein response is equal to the invoke URL. So in invoke URL, you have the URL which would be got from the API, and then you have the type, which is get, post, put, delete as well, right? So depending upon the type that you want to do, you can get, you can post it, you can delete it, or you can even change the update it as well, right? So inside parameters, you can give out parameters. Inside connections, you can connect it, and you can also give out a detailed value as well. Under the response is equal to invoke URL. So these are all the HTTP methods, which are get, post, put, patch, and delete. And this is the parameter, where parameter is equal to the map, which starts the map data type. And then you have response is equal to invoke URL, and you give out the URL is equal to the request URL, which should be pasted over here, and you can select the type. So this is one such example where you'll be seeing the URL being pasted, and then you have to select the type, which is get in this regards. Also post as well, where you can use parameter map, which is equal to map data type. You open a map, and then you put out a response of invoke URL, and you give out the URL here, and the type would be post. And this is one such another example where a parameter map is equal to the map variable, map data type, and then response is equal to invoke URL, and you give out the URL and the type as well. Now let us get into the demo where we'll be taking in a list of JSON records from an API. Let me get into creator. And over here, let me open, it's already open. Yeah, I have the Postman API, right? So the Postman is an API client that makes it easy for developers like us to create, share, test, and document the APIs as well. So with this open source solution, we will be able to access free APIs to connect, right? And underneath you have a lot of API collections. Let me just view some connections. I have this COVID tracking project over here where I have the COVID APIs, COVID tracking projects, and I have COVID-19 rich data service as well. I can select this COVID-19, any project under this for APIs. Let me select COVID tracking projects. And under the data API, you will get the APIs and you have a lot of data for the COVID-19 tracking project. And if I go down, I have the historic value of sales, historic values, current historic values. Let us just take like current historic values of states. And let me just use this JSON format. Let me just copy this API URL, Control C now. Now, let me go and start a function from creator. And let me go to functions, new function, API underscore CRM application. Let me create a function and select the namespace as default and select create function. And over here, we have an application here, right? We have already built this. Now let me just edit this application and create a form here as well. So inside the form, let me just give out the form name as COVID cases. Let me create a form. Let me have the single line. So I have added 4 single lines. Let me change the names to states. Positive, negative, and let me change it as death. And now what we'll try to do is I have created a new form inside the application, right? So let me access this form over here. And underneath the COVID cases report, I do not have any data here, right? But there are a lot of data in the APIs that are seen over here, right? So let us just access the data and try to push the data inside the creator, right? So let us try to do that. Let me start with response is equal to invoke URL. So as soon as I select invoke URL, it asks me the URL. Let me just paste it, put it under quotes. Let the type be get. Let me just remove the parameters, headers, and connection because I'm not going to give any parameters or connect any third-party application over here now, right? So let me close this. Let me info response. Save it, execute it. I'll have all the data. Let me just copy this data and paste it in the JSON formatter. And let me just use it as an array because we have lots of data over here so that it'll be easy for us to view the data. Let me process it. And If you see, you have all the data of all the 56 states that are there in the United States. Let me go to creator again, close it. And now let me comment this out and let us start all states is equal to response dot to JSON list, where I am taking all the list and putting it under for each state in all states. Let me info state dot get JSON, and let me put the state over here. This state is nothing but the state over here in JSON. So you will be mentioning the state over here from the JSON formatter. Let me just add a dash, add a plus over here, and then add another plus over here, and state dot again get JSON. Positive and underneath I'll give COVID form is equal to insert into COVID cases. I'll try to insert the COVID underscore cases. Now let me add it. Now let me open the brackets. So added user So let me just go and check the name of override. So it is COVID cases, all caps, right? So COVID underscore cases. Now added underscore user is equal to Zoho dot login user ID, right? Let the user be in caps. Now let us add states is equal to state dot get JSON and state. Now let me just copy paste it. Let me name this as positive. So this positive state are all taken from the JSON format that we just got the result from, right? So let it be negative. Let the stage be negative again. And let this stage be dead. Let this be dead. So let us go through this code again. So we have used the for loop and we have used the response, right? So this has to be in small, which is response. I'm sorry. Yes, so far we have used the response over here. Yes, now we'll try to save and execute it. You have all the results of all the states over here. And if I go and reload this over here, I'll get all the details of the reports pushed from the API that I have taken from the Postman into the application over here, right? So we have all the data listed under the reports. So like this, you'll be able to push data from the API call via in other application inside the creator application that you have created, right? So this brings us to the end of our topic API integration. Let me get back to the presentation again. The next topic that we'll be covering is exception handling in Deluge, right? So you have two main blocks over here, which is try block and catch block. When there is an error or when you predict an error that might occur, we'll be using this try catch method, right? So we'll be having this try catch process where we'll be trying to catch the error in the exception variable, and we'll try to create a new action from here. So a try block is where the exception handler is established by closing deluge code, which you think might throw an error, right? So you close that in the try block, and then you catch the error in the exception variable. And a catch block is where the try block is immediately followed by that catch block, which contains code to be executed if there is any error thrown in the try block. So if the errors are found, the catch block is, so if the errors are not found and if there is no error happening, the catch block is simply ignored and the code is been continued and it gets executed, right? And the exception variable attributes, which is very important to note, is exception variable dot line number gives you the line where the code got it wrong or there is an error, and the exception variable dot message gives you the message or the error message that you will get if that error occurred. Now let me go to a creator and let me create a function. Let me go over here, close it, done. Create a new function, call it as, let me guess, get inside. Let's call it as try catch. And let me select the namespace as default and let me create a function over here. And let me select the try catch function and let me start with try. Let me open it out again and let us create a map where it just says products is equal to, let me open brackets again. Let me have Ducati, BMW, Yamaha, and let me just access the product via an index. Let me just call a wrong index over here. let's say products is equal to products dot get, let's say 5, right? So there is no product under 5 or any data under 5. So it will throw an error. Now we'll try to catch the error over here by using catch, and let me just put E as an exception variable. And now let me send an email, so that's stating that if there is an error, let us just send an email, right? So you can send email, select send email over here, and it gives us from to expressions. So if I just can take Zoho dot admin user ID, I want it from the Zoho dot admin user ID to. So I've logged into my Zoho test application, right? So let me just copy this Gmail ID and paste it over here, put it under quotes, and let us start with the subject, which is error occurred. Let us say that there is an error that has occurred, stating that error occurred. And now let us give out a message which says there has been an error occurred, and let us give out the um, line number where the error has occurred, as well as the error message inside the message that we are sending. So let me just put it on code saying that an error has occurred dot, let me give a full stop, then please find the details below. Let me have it as a BR, which would just take me to the next line, which is line number underscore number. And now let me add the E line, which is E dot line number. So this is the variable that I was talking to you about in the presentation, where E is the catch that I've got, which is the exception variable, and the line number gives me the line number where the variable, sorry, where the code has gone wrong. And now let me add it again. Let me add BR, error message. Once again, we'll have to give plus E dot, now we'll have to use message, right? Dot message, and then let me add it again. And now let me just again have a BR, which will take me to the next line, and give out please look into the code. Full stop. Yes. So now let me save this, execute it, and because there is an error that is occurring, it would give out an email in the email address that we have given, stating that an error has occurred. Please find the below details. So the line number is 6 where the error has occurred. So the line number 6 is nothing but over here I have tried to get the index by using the index the products from here, which is not available. So the error message is given index 5 is greater than the list size that we have already created. So that is the error, and we have also entered please look into the code. So like this, you'll be able to create new actions as well. So once you catch the error, and then you can give out new actions like how I just sent a mail now, right? So let me get back to the presentation. So this brings us to the end of our session on Deluge 101. Thank you.